Hello guys and welcome back. This is Mr. Siege, and yes, we were winners this KVK again. Second time in a row for 69, 30-69, obviously my kingdom. And honestly, for me personally, I don't know the last time I lost a KVK. It's been, kind of crazy for me. This will be my sixth Autarch in total. Yeah, six in a row. So yeah, when I joined this kingdom, they did lose a KVK before. Obviously, I came here. Nothing to do with obviously me joining, but they were unlucky with matchmaking. But that hasn't been the case for these last two KVKs. So yeah, in this video, guys, it's a total overview of the KVK. What happened during Kingsland. It was a very short battle, and I'll go over that in a minute. But yeah, we're gonna look at the map and some drama that happened in enemy camps, mainly this one, which was Daybreak. You may have seen before, we spoke about it. And then we're going to look at the marches I used and basically the kills they got me. Now, not as many as previous KVKs because, there's certain reasons for that. And yeah, that's it, guys. So let's go ahead and check it out. So if you do enjoy this video and other videos that I make, don't forget to like and subscribe. You don't have to, but obviously it is totally free. So it would be great if you could. Thank you, guys. So let's take a look at what happened this KVK from the start. So we had no fight, and that was kind of strange because at this level, we were in a BC kingdom, and everyone else had fights, and the KVK, obviously the stronger kingdoms, there's weaker kingdoms. But we basically picked sides so that everyone would have a fight in Zone 5, and that never happened for us. They basically took the pass and just didn't bother from there, and we just had a bit of a pass fight, and it was all over in a matter of probably an hour. Absolutely nothing. So yeah, this camp is actually made up of two kingdoms, 2330, which was supposedly the stronger kingdom, and 2018, and yeah, a lot happened with these kingdoms. So 2330 chose not to fight here, and when they came through here, they also didn't want to fight here. And obviously, I think this annoyed 2018, and eventually 2018 turned on them. They've actually just taken this zone completely now, wiped out 2330, who was supposedly the stronger kingdom, which is kind of mad. And we sort of left them to themselves now. We're not attacking them. We were obviously well annoyed with them originally for not fighting, and yeah, we took it out on the whole camp, which obviously was Daybreak. But it turns out it wasn't really 2018's fault. They did want to fight, but were told not to by the stronger kingdom, or we're supposed to be the stronger kingdom. That doesn't seem the case at all, does it? So we've had no fights here. Very minimal at past 7. They built very strangely, and we had a little bit of a scuffle. These fights weren't even worth me streaming. They were that bad, and I've had to take terrible trades all KVK, which obviously we'll get onto again later in the video. And then the other passes opened, so like pass 8s, and we sort of came through here, dropped a fort, defended the fort against Greenwood, and half of Daybreak, so 2330 did sort of fight, but they were just pathetic again. So yeah, Greenwood fought a little bit, tried to hold us back, and obviously couldn't. So we just had to burn out this sort of area around here. Eventually, obviously you can see some just dead flags there. It was very slow, so we ended up moving over to this area over here, and we actually had some flags built around here. We must have had a fort as well, and we were fighting wind for a little bit. They had some forts put down over here and over here, and we had some all right fights. It was pass fighting, very minimal proper ball fighting. Everyone was chasing kills at this point, and that made it very hard for me as well. Well, it made it hard for everybody. If you're not doing proper ball fights, you don't get the great results that you sort of expect from your marches. So everyone struggled, at least I mean, most people struggled, I think, and I spent way over, resources and way more speed ups than I sort of anticipated. Because in previous KVKs, obviously my results have been pretty decent. I've got twice as many kills as I did heals. But that is not the case with KVK. I was literally throwing my troops out on the front line just to get swarmed, to just have an opportunity to get kills this KVK. It was so difficult to find kills. You just had to chase them all the time. So Kingsland eventually came. We had a farm fort here, and we dropped a fort right here on the edge of Kingsland. And this was our building area into Kingsland to block off Wind, who were the stronger of the camps, and we really expected such a hellish fight in Kingsland. I booked a couple of days off thinking it could last for days, this fight. Earth were drained, wind, water were completely locked into this zone. They didn't even have any land to get to Kingsland, or any territory to even get there. None of this was built. The forts weren't dropped, and when Kingsland opened, they started building across and trying to cause a nuisance in this zone. Water did. Although, they fought valiantly, this KVK, as well as Earth, which were our, obviously, allies. And, they held Wind pretty well. They did the best they could. They were totally outnumbered by Wind and Greenwood, because Greenwood decided to 2v2 here when they didn't need to. Wind should have had the capabilities to 1v2 these two kingdoms, really, but they decided not to. And that's fine. So when Kingsland actually came, we obviously built down here, we marched over, built the flags, and defended this area so well indeed. And they just didn't have enough. Wind just didn't turn up. And Kingsland lasted a mere 4 hours. So after my first expansion had ended, the fight was over, and it wasn't even worth popping another one. Now, Greenwood were totally pathetic. They got to about here, and instead of persisting in Kingsland, they decided to fight in a different zone. They were fighting over here to stop water, which they didn't need to do. So that was crazy. And I think they were going for easy kills in the end. They just had nothing. So to go and fight in a different zone when Kingsland had opened, it's just absolutely unheard of for me. 2330 came to the party, which was the half of Daybreak, which didn't want to fight all KVK. They dropped a fort here, I think, and started building into Kingsland this way. And yes, they did build a little bit, got some cities there, but then didn't really do much either. So Earth held back these two, or 1.5 camps, I guess, which was pretty amazing, really, because Earth have been fighting all KVK, so well done to them. You can see that their building there is just, they've covered the zone completely. So Kingsland was just over so quickly. Kills, again, were ridiculously hard to get. I did make the 30 million kills, luckily, and that's because I'd been sat at a pass most of KVK, just trying to get kills, taking whatever I could. And then the fighting, came into this zone. We're pushing the structures here, errands and circles, and so Wind and Greenwood continue to fight water and an Earth where they could, and they put up a good fight. But as soon as we build through, they just ignored us and didn't want to fight us at all. And that's just the way the KVK's been, that everyone's just avoided our camp, even though we weren't necessarily the strongest camp in the KVK. Wind were extremely strong too, or at least should have been. But they just didn't want to fight us. We did actually attempt to drop a fort down here, which was crazy because we had to march from past 9 all the way over to here to try and defend a fort that was right on the edge of this pass. All they had to do was build one flag, and they were there, and that's what they did. They built all the way around here, got the cities next to it, but obviously that's all been destroyed now because Earth have built through everywhere. So that was a KVK in a nutshell. A really strange one, tough, just chasing kills all KVK, and it's it's been draining on resources, speed ups, and just mentally, to be honest with you, because it's been no fun. 99% of the fights were just pants. It's just terrible fights. But yeah, let's go and look at the results anyway. So first of all, we'll go into Expedition and look at my individual score in the KVK. Now, 59th for kill points in the end wasn't too bad for saying we barely got any fights, and what we had was just pathetic. So obviously top up here with mainly the camps at Fort. Swerves our whale, our Kraken, and you know, getting kills for a guy like that is just easy really for him. But you know, obviously it's taken a lot of hard work. He has got hurt too. He's had to take some terrible trades as well, to be fair. I mean, let's go look at the heal points. You know, he's right up there. He hasn't traded 2 to 1 all KVK, to be honest. But like I say, just the way the KVK was, it's kind of no surprise. You know, he's just random TPing, taking swarms of everybody, just giving it his all to get those kills. So being ranked 59 this KVK is kind of a miracle, to be quite honest, especially with the siege marches, which are quite situational, which I've explained before, and me just having to dump them outside people's cities to get swarmed isn't the ideal scenario at all, especially with fairly little help a lot of the time. Yeah, that was me. It was Ken Loves T1. It's not anymore. So death points, I didn't get that many deads. There wasn't great opportunities to get deads this KVK. In the first couple of zones, we didn't even take any rallies. So no flags were rallied, no forts were rallied. And I think all KVK, the only opportunity was one pass 8, where we could just fill with mainly just archers, and there's a couple of rallies as well. And they'd rally that a few times. And if you're on, then you could take deads, and if you're off, because at this point I was just totally fed up, you know, you just went back to work really. So heal points, 118 million. Kill points, 141 million. It's actually pretty even. I nearly got the same heal points as kill points, and like I said, you haven't seen that from me before. Usually my kill points are way above my heal points, at least 2 to 1 generally. But that's the way this KVK's gone, and yeah, it's been very, very tough. As you can see, a lot of, you know, a few from 69 around this sort of area too. From kill points, J-Bone's very good. Heal points, you can see some people took just as bad as me in 69. You know, they struggled too. Musa, and for what little fights we had, we were just having to, we were having to take bad trades, worse trades than what we'd expect. But anyway, let's get on to the commanders. Let's see how many kills my commanders got. And of course, I've made a table. Obviously, at the top of the table, we have Cordoba. He started off, before KVK, 33.7 million kill points, and afterwards 40 million kill points, just over 40 million kill points, and that's gained 6.4 million kills this KVK. And you know what, that's nowhere near what I've been getting other KVKs for my Margaret Cordoba. They have been absolutely slaying. I think in the best KVK they had as a pair, they gained about 26 million kills, but you know, between them, so like 13 million each. So I've got half that for this March, this KVK. And to be honest with you, it's kind of lucky that John and Stephen came out, because with 2 marches, I'd have probably only hit 20 million kill points, as you'll be able to see on this table. So next on the list, which, you know, she's done second best this KVK, which is Margaret, which may be surprising because she's actually 2 years old now. I mean, obviously in real life she's older than that, but in Rise of Kingdoms, Margaret is actually 2 years old, and you'll be able to see that here. I recruited her on 2nd of the 3rd, 2023. So 2nd of March 2023, which is almost 2 years to the day. So 2 years, 56 million kills is quite good. I'm pretty happy with that. So yeah, she came second with 6.2 million kills. Garjamada, as you can see before and after, and then gained 5.3 million kills almost, and obviously ran him with Babur, because that's a very strong march indeed. That was my tank march. Garja, Babur was being thrown at front of the cities, front of a pass, and your Margaret Cordoba and your John and Stephen was sort of chucked behind them. just trying to get a few kills before they were swarmed down inevitably too. And then you get to John and Stephen, and they gained about 4.3 million kills each, totaling 8 mil for that pairing, which isn't bad. But you know what, compared to your Margaret Cordoba and your Gaja Baba, it's a lot less. And John and Stephen were kind of protected again by Gaja Baba. So Margaret Cordoba were just as far away from the fights as John and Stephen. And in a lot of situations, I was trying to target weaker marches, and almost as a pairing, 4 million kills less than Margaret Cordoba is quite substantial. Now, the gear difference is different. So, Margaret's got 3 crits. She's got the plume and the ring. So, that's quite good. And we'll just compare that to what John's got on very quickly. He's got full legendary siege equipment, the Delane's amulet, and obviously the dagger, which will reduce the enemy's health, which is quite handy. It's not the best accessory at all. Horn and ring, or maybe even drum, if you've got multiple siege marches, is the way to go. So let's compare the armaments. In terms of stats, I'd say they're about the same, and you'll see in a second. Decent stats on those, decent numbers, and 6, I'd say, fairly decent inscriptions. Not amazing. We've got extra damage there, 2.5% more counter damage of all types. Dealing isn't great. It's fine for getting swarmed, and that's happened a lot this KVK, so not so bad. But comparing Margaret's armaments, and obviously she's all set for normal damage. I did have sharpshooter on during this KVK, so I've changed it for now. I've actually got tremors and war cry on instead. But it's pretty similar to what it was running this KVK, about 30% stats and decent inscriptions. Ballistics is very good for obviously V formation and siege. Now, my other march of Gaja and Baba had again pretty similar equipment. Got the drum on this march, so benefiting all the marches here, as well as another crit Delane's amulet, which again for a siege march, very, very good investment. Cheap investment compared to those legendary accessories, so very worthwhile in my opinion. And another set of decent armaments and stats with a 1.1% all damage there as well, which is very useful. And yeah, all these armaments, all these inscriptions are pretty perfect for siege, really. Now, outside of your rare and legendary inscriptions, these are probably some of the best you could get. So, hence why that march has performed pretty well. And what I can say is all these marches were thrown out at the same time every time. I did want to use Narcissus and Catherine, but the chances to use them were very, very slim. So I just didn't get round to it as much. I sent them out a couple of times, and it really isn't worth me showing you their kills. They probably got like 200,000 kills each, so very, very minimal, unfortunately. So that's been the overview of this KVK. Overall, very, very bad as a KVK, but we won, got another auto, got me 30 million kills, so it's not all bad, I suppose, but compared to previous KVKs, it's probably been one of the worst. And I don't mind losing KVKs, to be honest with you. We didn't even get a star actually for this one, even though we were probably the strongest camp in the KVK. But because we had no fights, we couldn't even get the star. And as for the kingdom, that is pants. Personally, me myself, I'm not bothered about the star. It doesn't mean anything to me. It's great for the alliance just to stick that extra. Well, we would have had the moon or the rainbowy sort of thing. That would have been nice. It would have been cool to look at, and I guess encourage people into the kingdom. But to be fair, encouraging people to the kingdom, we've got a huge influx of migrants coming soon, and we're going to be pushing to an AC, which should be very interesting. Hopefully we get some very good bullfights. Hopefully. And hopefully next KVK we can get twice as many kills. Let's aim for the 60 mil kills. Who knows? So guys, this is me, Mr. Siege. That was a KVK overview. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.